It's Swain Event time!
My man.
It is time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Get into his mouth and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. It is Thursday the 15th on a beautiful morning in East Tennessee. Ben McKee, GoVol Sioux 47. I am Jason Swain, live in the Low T Center studio. Man, help them, Ben. Help the good people, Ben. Help them out. Can you do that, Ben McKee?
I can try.
I think folks going crazy over the quarterback situation, Ben. Help them out. help them, Ben.
I don't know that I can offer much help. I mean, it will be exciting to see what George McIntyre can do.
Yeah.
And if I don't mean to discount Faison Brandon and his talent, but I would think that George McIntyre wins that starting job amongst that competition. So I know that I've been on my horse about Tennessee needing to add a quarterback. I still think that they need to add a quarterback. They obviously think that they need to add a quarterback just from a pure bodies in the room perspective. I would not have the utmost confidence that George is going to make it through an entire season of getting hit. Now, he can go out and have a phenomenal offseason and gain those 20 pounds that he desperately needs and certainly make you feel better about that situation. So, as you and I have both said many, many times, our thoughts on Tennessee's need for a quarterback has nothing to do with George or Faison. We think they're great talents. We think they're going to be great quarterbacks, excited for their future. But it's just really risky for Josh Heupel in a pivotal season to not really have any experience to lean on at that position. So reason for optimism there, but obviously the plans at quarterback I don't think have necessarily gone according to plan during this portal cycle.
It doesn't matter who anyone is riding with in January. Folks have picked their side, and they're riding with the quarterback. It's too early for that. I mean, if anything, you ride with whoever's the starter. That should be the statement. You ride with whoever is the starter, because no one knows. Let's stop trying to crown people before they deserve to be crowned. Aren't we the ones that complain about the younger generation wanting to get things handed to them before they actually earn it? Aren't we the ones to do that, Ben? Grown-ups? So how about we let the young people compete? Josh Heupel, according to Austin Price, had him on Josh and Swain yesterday. They're looking at a FCS quarterback. They're going that route. Don't know who it's going to be, but they're going that route. And when Tennessee adds another quarterback, there's going to be a three-man competition. And let's let the best man win. Let's let him win. That's what competition is all about. You don't get crowned January the 15th. You don't get crowned before you even start your off-season workout program. We don't even have a strength coach yet. Let these dudes compete first. Let him compete. During the fall camp, when it was Merklinger competing with Aguilar and George McIntyre, I said, George looks the best throwing the football. He looked the best throwing the ball. The talent is there. The maturity is there with George. I've been really impressed with how George has handled himself in his freshman year. Very mature. Very mature. I won't get into details, but I'm just letting you know he's more mature than a typical freshman quarterback of his stature. Very mature. I caught wind that receivers were going to go throw George McIntyre around a bowl game. I didn't think it was big news that they were going to do it and post photos and stuff like that.
Well, 2026.
Huh?
It's 2026. You know how those go. Did you really work out if you didn't post about it?
I mean, I guess, but I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal to mention. I did mention, I think, Tuesday or Thursday that I know for a fact they were going to work out and throw, like, because I caught wind that they were planning on going to another city to do this. And I was like, that's what they should do. George McIntyre has the same advantage that Jake Merklinger had when Joey Aguilar was coming in. George has that same advantage over Faison Brandon and whoever the third quarterback is going to be to compete for the job. He has that advantage. So he should win the job. But that doesn't mean he's going to. Because we don't know what he's going to do in the future. We don't know what is going to happen during the off-season workouts. We don't know what's going to happen during spring football. We don't know what's going to happen during summer or the fall competition. How about we just chill? We don't have to crown anybody right now. We don't have to. We don't have to pick one guy to back. You back whoever is wearing orange, and then whoever starts, you back him. But we don't have to pick a starting quarterback right now. Tennessee almost picked a starting quarterback a couple days ago. Almost, when they were recruiting Sam Levitt, because if you would have signed him, he would have been your starting quarterback. But there's not a starting quarterback right now. So let's chill a little bit, is all I'm saying. You need a third quarterback. Saying you need a third quarterback doesn't mean you don't think that George is talented. You don't think that Faison is talented. They're young, and you just don't know with young dudes. You got to have a third quarterback on the roster because you never know what might happen in terms of injuries or anything else. Folks, I've had people go, well, 2004 we had Angel Schaefer. Yeah, they did start. You want to know what else happened that year? Yeah, they played. They started. You want to know what else happened, Ben?
You were on that team. You were on that team. No, nobody can tell it better than you.
Yeah, you was young, but I'll tell you what happened. They both got hurt.
You just never know. You just never know. That's the problem. And
neither one of them finished the season, Ben.
Right. And George McIntyre's current stature, I would bet against him finishing the season, quite frankly. Now, again, I'm being a bit unfair when I say that. On January 15th, George, I would expect, has a good offseason, adds 20 pounds, and would be in position at that point to hold up better throughout the course of the season. But they had trouble keeping weight on George last summer, going into the fall. And it wasn't George being lazy or anything. It was just everybody's body is different, and everybody's body takes to things differently. So what if that problem persists? I believe Tennessee is confident that they have sorted out those issues. But what if that problem persists and he's not able to gain the additional weight that is needed? Then I would be very surprised if he made it throughout the course of the season. And of course, all of that is fluky, right? But it's the nature of the sport that Tennessee plays. When we did the show last year on January 15th, or the third Thursday of January last year, we didn't know Jamal McCoy or Ricky Gibson was going to miss the entire season due to injury. And Tennessee, of course, filled in nicely with Colton Hood and Ty Redmond, but it did alter things. It did. It changed what Tim Banks could do defensively this season. So you just never know here on January 15th how it may play out. And we've seen other situations as well. I mean, Josh Dobbs got his first opportunity because everybody was hurt in front of him back in 2013 in Tuscaloosa with Justin Worley dealing with an injury. Riley Ferguson was banged up with something as well. And I believe there was Nathan Peterman, I believe, was on that roster and hurt as well. So it can be very fluky. Tennessee was lucky that Joey Aguilar was able to manage his bumps and bruises to where he could still play through them this past season. But George is so scrawny right now that if he doesn't put on the weight, then it'll be more difficult for him to manage those bumps and bruises. So that is, as you and I have said multiple times, Swain, it's not that anybody, especially Tennessee, doubts the ability of McIntyre and Brandon. It's just that they're young. They've not played a meaningful snap of college football, and you look in the playoffs, and they're experienced quarterbacks. And then on top of that, with George, it's just the lack of physical readiness, I guess. And then Faison, I mean, he missed nearly his entire season with an injury. So he is a bit behind in his development of where you would like him to be as he arrives on campus. So that's why Tennessee still needs to add a third quarterback, whether they win the lottery with Joey Aguilar's situation or they go find an FCS quarterback, which seems to be most likely at this point.
I think it's important that we go off the facts here. George McIntyre is a really good, talented, athletic quarterback. He was not a 5-star when the rankings were finally done. At one point, he was rated as a 5-star, but he didn't finish as a 5-star. He finished as the 17th overall quarterback according to 247. So, is he talented? Absolutely. Can he do great things even as a 4-star? Absolutely. But the composite said that he was a 13th rated quarterback in the country, and he was 151 overall. 247 said he was a 4-star, and he was 17th quarterback overall. So I'm seeing folks go, 5-star. He was not a 5-star.
He started out as a 5-star and then dropped throughout the course of his senior season.
So he did not finish as a 5-star. I just think it's important for us to speak on facts here instead of making up things, okay? Faison Brandon is different. Faison Brandon, at one point, was the number one player in the country. Was he not? He also dropped a little bit, but he still was a 5-star. 247 had him as the number 2 overall player in the country. The second quarterback, the composite has him as the 3rd rated quarterback. So when we're speaking about the situation, I just think it's important to get our facts correct. Faison Brandon coming in as a 5-star. George McIntyre came in as a 4-star. Both talented quarterbacks. Both give you a chance to do some things with your offense and them if they win the job and if they can handle the offense. Okay? Just because one is a 5-star doesn't guarantee them anything. Once you come here, it doesn't matter how many stars you have. Once you get on campus, It does not matter. It's about your production. It's about what you do when you get here. Now, you may be given a little bit more grace with some of the things that you do or don't do if you do have that talent that is superior to everyone else. But for the most part, you get in, everyone is on an equal playing field. You got to go prove it and earn it. So, man, I just think it was important for us to just lay out some facts. Because I see a lot of folks just all over the place with this whole quarterback situation. And on one hand, we're talking about younger generation, and they're so entitled, and in the same breath, we over here crowning people. They didn't even compete. The competition ain't even started yet. It has, but all three guys are not even here yet. Let's let them compete.
And who entitles the youth?
Us. Us. Let them compete. Let them compete. Simple as that. Now,
hold on, real quick. Did you peep something in that in those George McIntyre photos? I know you. I know you like feet pics. Did you notice what was on the feet of the players?
Oh boy, no, I ain't think that's what you was talking about.
The 3 stripes.
No, I didn't pay attention to that. Let me find.
They had fresh Adidas cleats on.
Let me go.
Well, while you pull it up, what did you notice? What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you was going to tell me who was all in the photo.
Oh, I mean, I could tell you it was Braylon Staley, it was Mike Matthews, it was Travis Smith Jr., Jahan Dotson. Deshaun Brame was in another photo, apparently down there, as questions arise as to whether he will enter the transfer portal or not after Jack Van Doorslayer. Look, I know that I like Jack Van Doorslayer, but as an employee of 247 Sports that has to write about the football team, I'm glad I never have to spell his name again. I from that standpoint, I was not sad to see Jack Van Doorslayer go back home to Texas and end up at some Texas school. But I peeped the 3 stripes on the feet of the Vols in the pics.
I can't find the photo, man. I can't look forward and do this at the same time. So, somebody wants to send it to me. Please send it to me. I can see the Adidas, but that's not what stood out to me. Is what they were wearing. What you just mentioned is what stood out to me when I originally saw the photo. Can you tell me again who's in the photo?
Well, it seems like your interest peaked up when I mentioned Deshaun Brame was in a different photo.
Yeah, because he is the only non-receiver in the photo. And then you wonder, well, if he is in the photo as a non-receiver and he's a tight end,
where's Ethan Davis?
Where's tight end 1? Where's Ethan Davis? There was times when Deshaun Brame didn't line up as a tight end when he was playing on the football field this season, Ben. There was a time when he was lined up in the slot as a wide receiver.
Ooh, so you're curious.
So you wonder, he trying to play that wide receiver position. There's an opportunity obviously open for him now with Van Doorslayer hitting the portal, because that guy was 1B. Jack was 1B. When you look at how he played his freshman year, how much they used him, he's a physical tight end. He was, in my opinion, going to take the place of Miles Kittelman. We were talking about a guy that's 6'5", all 6'5", 235, 240, and he's about to hit the weight room for the first time in the offseason program. Like, he's about to experience some serious gains. But those gains will happen for another program. So I just felt like, Deshaun Brame is more like Ethan Davis, and Doorslayer is more like Kittelman. So if you're Tennessee, all right, now you need a physical tight end. And they were expecting a visit from Pierce Sperling, but that's not going to happen anymore. So now, what do you do? And eyes were on Dorsey for a couple of days because there was word that he may hit the portal. Well, I'm still looking at that position because they could still experience some turnover. And the portal closes tomorrow. So if you're Tennessee, the sense of urgency to bring in tight ends on a visit is greater probably than any other position besides quarterback. Now, you still got to get a corner. You still got to get an offensive lineman. I think in interior, this is something I've been saying since the portal opened or before the portal. Tennessee needs an interior offensive lineman because you didn't get the protection and the movement that you needed in the running game in certain situations this season like you need to have. And if we're talking about playing George McIntyre, you better make sure the offensive line is on point. O-line development needs to take a couple steps forward, huge steps. There's no time to be slouching with the offensive line development and the progression and the execution. Like, you can't play around. There's no Hendon Hooker back there that can make guys miss. There's no tough Aguilar that's a grown man, a firefighter to be. Like, they can take those hits. This is George McIntyre, who is struggling to put on weight. So, yeah, there's other positions we gotta handle. Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
They appear comfortable with what they've got on the interior. I'm not saying that's the right or wrong thought process, but
if they comfortable, why they bring in an offensive lineman on a visit?
Well, I think that offensive lineman is more of a depth piece than somebody that you can plug in right away. Now, maybe he absolutely challenges for the job and ends up starting, but I think on the surface, at least here in January, it looks more like a depth addition because, in my opinion, it seems like they're comfortable with Wendell Moore, Sam Pendleton, and Jesse Perry as your starting interior from left to right, and then maybe Sham Umarov mixes in there as well. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it looks more like they're trying to add depth than anything else. Because on paper, the guy that they're bringing in does not look like an upgrade over what you already have, which is Wendell Moy, Sam Pendleton, or Jesse Perry. On paper, paper don't matter, right? It's what happens on the practice field in August and throughout the course of the offseason. But on paper, it looks more like a depth addition than anything else, if they're able to do it.
The interior offensive line play wasn't good enough this year.
It was not. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
It seems like from the outside looking in, it looks like I thought Wendell Moy was fine, and I thought Jesse Perry was pretty good before he got a little banged up. But from the outside looking in, it seems like they're expecting a step forward from Sam Pendleton and also the other two.
What if you don't get it?
Then you're going to be in a world of trouble, and hopefully this possible depth piece is somebody that you can plug in and he can produce.
So
or maybe it ends up being where Wendell Moore slides over to center and this additional player slides in and is able to produce, or maybe Sham Umarov takes a step forward. I don't know. But obviously, if you don't get that step forward from Sam Pendleton, then you're going to have the same issues. And not that the offensive line concerns or struggles that we are referencing are all on Sam Pendleton, because he wasn't the only one that struggled at times. But you obviously would be in a world of hurt, and so would your quarterback, literally, if you do not get that step forward.
See, offensive line is not like the receiver position or the running back position, where, like, if you got three receivers playing and two of them are really good, the third one don't have to be all that great. You still can go bust people's butt. Like, you still can. Offensive line, you are as strong as the weakest link. And it doesn't matter how great you are with your tackles, how much you pay them. You have to be strong in every area on the offensive line. And you can't ignore what you saw this season. Tennessee didn't ignore the safety position. We knew that was a glaring issue. And what did Tennessee go out and do this offseason in the portal? They addressed it. You can't look at the interior offensive line play this year and go, oh, we good. They'll just get better. No, you have to protect yourself. It's no different than going out and getting a third quarterback. It doesn't matter if you think George is going to be the guy. It doesn't matter if you think Faison is going to be the guy. There's two guys who are young. You have to protect yourself. It's the same thinking you got to have with the offensive line or any other position that you have a question about. If you have a question, you have to address it. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. Guys, we're never going to play. We're never going to play the schedule we played in 24 and in 2025. I had someone was like, hey, man, all you got to do is get a good defense and, young quarterback. We did it in 2024 with Nico. And you're never going to play that schedule again. It was one of the most favorable schedules Tennessee has ever had. Ever. You're never going to play a schedule as easy as that, Ben. It's only going to get harder from now. So you can't bank on that. You have to prepare. Go ahead.
I was just going to nitpick for no reason because I am the way that I am and say that you think that it looks like the schedule is going to be much more difficult in January. But you hit the nail on the head when you say you can't bank on benefiting from the schedule like you have the past two seasons. Tennessee certainly benefited during Nico's season, and I would say, and I know that you agree, I believe that they benefited this past season as well. And on paper, it looks like it's going to take a significant step forward in terms of difficulty this upcoming season, mostly with LSU and Texas. I think what triggered my brain and why I had a retort for you unnecessarily is because I think people are lumping in Auburn to that. And I just can we slow our roll on Auburn and a first-year head coach and a million new roster pieces for them. Everybody's so gung-ho about Alex Golesh, and I like Alex Golesh, but can we stop acting like he's going to be the next Nick Saban of the SEC or the next great thing in the SEC? Let's let him prove it. Also, same thing with John Summerall, since he don't play Florida, but let's slow our roll. Everybody thought Billy Napier was going to come in and lead Florida to a national championship, and he was far from it. So the schedule is going to be more difficult, but at least let's wait and see what Auburn looks like by the time the season rolls around.
I wasn't even thinking about whether Auburn was going to be better or Florida is going to be this. It's a simple fact that you're losing a pay game and you're adding an SEC game.
Totally fair. I get it. I agree.
For me, it's just that simple.
I just see a lot of people hyping up Alex Golesh in Auburn, and the talk since he has gotten that job is, Alex Golesh is going to come in the Neyland Stadium and shove Josh Heupel into a locker. Like, let's wait and see. All right, let's slow our roll a little bit. I like Alex Golesh like everybody else. I think he's really good offensive mind. We'll see how he handles the pressure of Auburn, but he's coming to Neyland Stadium to play what should be a more established program since he will be in year one. So that is kind of where my brain went when you said that. Not necessarily the LSU or Texas part of it, but how everybody's been hyping up Alex Golesh.
Yeah, he got to prove it just like anybody else got to prove it. Got to prove it, man. It's that simple. But, yeah, like the schedule is never going to be what it was in 2024, 2025. Never. Because you're adding an SEC game. So you can't say, oh, well, it's okay just to go out there and throw out a, inexperienced quarterback. It may be okay once the inexperienced quarterback go out there and ball out, but we don't know that right now. So you have to prepare for everything. It's why we have insurance. That's why you have insurance, because you don't know what can happen. If you're Josh Heupel, it's about insurance. It's why you have backups. Just roll with 33 players on your team. 11 for offense, 11 for defense, 11 for special teams. But that would be stupid, right? Because people get hurt, people get tired. You need backups for what? Insurance. I don't know why this has made folks so crazy. We crazy. We have lost it.
Yeah. It just all comes from passion and people wanting to see Tennessee get things corrected and being frustrated by some of the things that have transpired. I think that's where the craziness stems from. Every fan base deals with it. Fan is short for fanatic, as we know. And I think it just stems from the emotions and passions of wanting to see Tennessee get things corrected and then being slow to do so at times. To follow up on the offensive lineman, because Nelson from Jackson asked me about which offensive lineman I was referring to, whether it was the West Virginia interior offensive lineman, who is Donovan Haslam, or the Ole Miss interior offensive lineman, which was Ethan Fields. This is what they did this past season. And again, I'm not suggesting at all that like they don't have the ability to start at Tennessee next season, but the Ole Miss interior offensive lineman primarily played on special teams this season. He played in all 15 games, but he primarily played on special teams for Ole Miss this season. And then the West Virginia interior offensive lineman, 3 years at Austin Peay, I believe it was, transfers to West Virginia and started 5 games on a bad West Virginia team. So not trying to go ahead and pigeonhole them into they can only be this. They can get out of a situation elsewhere and thrive at Tennessee. Nobody thought Miles Kitselman was going to be Miles Kitselman when he committed to Tennessee. So I'm not at all suggesting it's a foregone conclusion, but what their resume is to this point is why I believe it suggests that they are more depth pieces than somebody who is going to come in and truly, really challenged to be a starter or somebody that you can plug and play. They're not Wendell Moore. You got Wendell Moore last year,
Hold on,
and you
man.
say he's starting for you.
But if you say that Miles Kitselman became what he became and no one knew that he was going to do what he did, then we have to say the same thing about whoever comes in the offensive line, because Miles Kitselman, when he came in, he was considered a depth piece.
Yeah.
Like he really was. But then he became tight end number 1. So with that line of thinking, we have to say the same thing about Donovan Haslam or whoever comes in the offensive line. Like they could be more than just a depth piece. Because when you look at what happened in the interior of the offensive line this past season, you know that it has to be addressed. And so if they're bringing someone in to play the same position, I would say that it's being addressed by the coaching staff because they see the same thing that we all saw this season.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I just, on paper in January, they look more like players that are going to provide you depth than somebody that you can plug in right away. And my point of bringing up Miles Kitselman is that doesn't mean that that's absolutely what they will be. Mm-hmm. But I in January, evaluating from the outside looking in, they look more like depth pieces rather than somebody that you're going to be able to plug in right away and upgrade your offensive line. Well, what they did this past season would not suggest that. You're not adding what Wendell Moore was last offseason when you got him from Arizona. I think I totally agree with you. This is a separate point going back to Tuesday when Justin and Florida called in. I think these 2 visits that are coming up with these interior offensive linemen speak to just how difficult it is to have the numbers that you want at different positions. You go out and you add 2 safeties in T.J. Metcalf from Michigan. You add the Penn State safety as well. And what happens right after that? Caleb Beasley hits the portal. Now, I did not have high hopes for Caleb Beasley long term. Listen to me.
Okay,
I did not have high hopes for Caleb Beasley long term. But when we were talking about the running back position on Tuesday and wanting a fourth and fifth guy or a fourth and fifth guy at this position, at that position, Caleb Beasley is your fourth or fifth guy on the roster, and he immediately bolts once he sees Tennessee add safeties from the portal. And now, like, I haven't heard anything on Edris Farouk, but like, what does Edris Farouk decide to do once Tennessee elects to bring in two safeties in the ones that they have? It just, I think it's really hard to have the numbers where you want them to be at different positions, because guys want to play, whether they're right or wrong. Guys want to play, and they're not willing to sit on the bench and on the depth chart and fourth or fifth and wait their turn anymore. They're not willing to do that anymore. Those examples are far and few between. So I think the upcoming offensive line visits speak more to Tennessee's desire for depth, and they lost a couple of offensive linemen right when the portal began. And like, you need numbers on your roster, and I think that's what these visits speak to more than hoping that they can upgrade your starters along the offensive line.
We just talking about two deep, man. We ain't talking about fourth or fifth. So when you compare the running back room, yeah, like if you are not RB1, you're RB2. If you're not RB2, you're RB3. If you're not 3, you're 4. But we're talking offensive line where 5 dudes play at once. And we're talking about two deep. Like, you need a two deep. You need an offensive line group where guards are interchangeable, tackles are interchangeable, and you have a backup center that if one is not playing well and if one gets hurt, you don't fall off a cliff. 2023, Cooper Mays couldn't start the season, and we fell off a cliff. You didn't have anybody that could snap the freaking football. You can't put yourself in that situation. If the center position has struggles this season where we're snapping too early, it's causing false starts, we're getting whipped up front, you can't put yourself in a situation where you're like, hey, man, we don't have anybody else. That's all I'm saying. You're Tennessee. You have resources. This is year 6 we're going into. You can't be sitting up there talking about some, man, we won't have anybody else. You should never be able to say that we don't have anybody else, unless there's a freak situation where multiple dudes are getting hurt. But if you can't build a two deep on the offensive line, man, that's a major issue. You should be able to build two deep. We're not talking about the fifth string running back here. We're talking about two deep.
That's what they're trying to do, is build a two deep right now. I think that I think they have their starters, and I think at this point they are trying to build their two deep, because William Satterwhite left, Bennett Warren left, Max Anderson left. Like, your quote unquote depth pieces, they're gone.
But don't bring in dudes that you don't feel like can really compete and push the players that you felt like didn't play up to the standard that your offense needs to be successful.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's what I'm saying.
And my thing is, I would not have high hopes about these guys being upgrades over what you already have. That's my only point, is I would not have high hopes about them being better than Sam Pendleton at center, better than Wendell Moy at left guard, better than Jesse Perry at right guard. It would surprise me, based off of their resume up until this point, if they're better than the starters you already have.
I'm not talking about the guards here, Ben. I thought the guards were okay. I'm talking about the center position. Okay,
Sam Pendleton is the one that we're talking about.
I'm talking about the center position.
That's fine.
Yeah.
These two, again, from the outside looking in, they don't seem like they're going to be an upgrade over what you already have. But we'll see what happens by the time fall camp rolls around. I mean, would you do you disagree that they look like they can be an upgrade over what you already have?
I don't know. That's not my job, man. My job is
it's not my job either.
Yeah,
which is why I'm just going off of what they've done up until this point, which is less than what Sam Pendleton had done.
I just think that if you have a issue that was glaring during the season, and then you have a chance to fix it with bringing in someone that can push that player or replace that player, and you have the resources to do it, you should do it. And if you don't do it, and you have some of the same issues the next season as you did the previous season, that's on you.
It is.
That's on you. That's all I'm
I
saying.
agree. I agree.
It's no different than when Tennessee had issues at receiver. What they doing all season? They went out and got a 5-star receiver in Mike Matthews. They went out and got Chris Brazzell. They addressed it. You got to do the same thing, just like it's any other position. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm going to the phones. 865-255-03, the Garza Law Hotline. Good morning.
Good morning.
What up? What up?
Not much. How are you guys doing today? You mentioned my name. I guess I'm like Beetlejuice. I just appear.
Justin, like, what? I'm calling in. He said something about me. What's up, Justin?
I know. I tell you, that actually made my morning. I get a shout out with Swain and Ben. So let me understand this correctly, Ben. And I unfortunately was doing work, half listening, half paying attention. I heard you say that it's much harder for guys, or guys don't want to sit, guys want to start. And that's why a lot of guys, if they're not starting, will up and leave, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the guys we're bringing in on the offensive line are going to be depth pieces?
Yes, because you have no depth as it currently sits.
But you just said before that guys don't want to do that. So which is it?
Well, I'm sure Tennessee. Look, I'm talking on a radio show. I'm not the one in charge of recruiting these offensive linemen. I'm sure that Tennessee is not selling them on, hey, you can come in and be the backup here. I guarantee you they are telling the Ole Miss interior offensive lineman, the West Virginia interior offensive lineman, that you can come in and compete to win the job. But I would be surprised if they win the job. They look like
so we didn't tell that to Caleb.
Pieces
we didn't tell that to Caleb Beasley.
Well, that they did not try to keep Caleb Beasley, so no.
Okay.
Caleb Beasley wasn't going to produce at Tennessee.
There is a scenario where guys will stick around if they're not guaranteed a starting role, if they can compete for a starting role.
In my opinion.
Okay. So isn't every single kid on the roster able to compete for a starting role?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just, like I said, trying to.
But we also know
clarify.
that that's not reality. That's not reality, though, that everybody on the roster is going to compete for the starting job. But it's the coach's job to package that to the players so that they don't lose those players to the portal.
Well, why can't anyone compete? I mean, listen, to be fair, and the best example of this is Jesse Perry. I don't think when we signed that class, anybody with the talent that was there, Bennett Warren, Satterwhite, Anderson, Ginther, they converted Jeremiah Hurd to tackle. I don't think anybody in our fan base was like, hey, Jesse Perry's going to be the one that's going to step into that role.
Yeah.
But he earned it.
Sure did.
Right.
He's awesome.
So I guess my point is, are we not doing a good job of opening that up to everybody, or are guys open to that and they're going, well, I want the guarantee? Because I feel like a lot of times our recruiting pitch is about stats, about minutes, about, come here, produce, right away. And when guys don't get that, it's like, all right, I'm out. And I still think, that is a much easier way to recruit. Hey, we're gonna get you on the field here, really quick in your career. Hey, you can earn a lot of NIL money. Problem becomes if down the road they don't see that. That's when I think guys bail, because I think and the reason I say that is because look at the number of guys that we have on the defensive line. They are okay waiting their turn. You look at the scholarship numbers this past year. You had 13 offensive linemen. You had, I think, 18 defensive linemen with less positions on the field. So why are guys willing to wait on one side of the ball in the trenches but not the other?
Belief in Rodney Garner.
Okay, my question's going to then be, and I agree with you, Swain. My next question is, why can't we find a Rodney Garner on the offensive line?
Because
You want to
Tennessee rushes
compete?
for a lot of yards every year under Glenn Elliott. That's how Josh Heupel views it.
And listen, we all know the answer. Heupel will go down with the ship before he gets rid of Ellerby. We all know that. It's one of those unspoken things, but he believes in Glenn that much. We've had success in the run game, but I don't think anybody can honestly say over the past 25, 24, 23, 22, the O-line was solid. But again, a lot of players that Glenn, adopted that were already here. So the more we've gotten Glenn's guys in the mix, we've kind of seen it be inconsistent. At times it's been good, absolutely. This past year, we were better in pass blocking, we were better in pass blocking than we were in 24. And there were times where the run blocking, and Swain, I know you guys probably won't say this, I still think a weakness is at center. You go back and you watch that particular, player closely when the ball snapped. Go back, rewatch these games. You'll see that we get stuffed up the middle, and it's because a block was missed. I'm wondering, because you hear reports of, they worked Jesse Perry out at center. Are they bringing in another guard that provides Perry the flexibility to move? That way he's not just at tackle. He's not just at guard. He now becomes that Swiss Army knife. Maybe he competes for the center position. But if he's not able to do that, Pendleton goes down with an injury. Who are you starting at center this year? It's year 6. Is it going to be Nick Moore? Is he ready? He got how many snaps did he get last year?
That he got any. I'd have to pull up his PFF grade.
Right. All right. So we can agree that very little. That right now, unless somebody else steps into that backup center role, that is your backup center in year 6. How?
Well, remember, Justin, they're bringing in these interior offensive linemen to bring back to be the backups.
Okay.
Thanks a
well,
lot,
your
Justin.
point, your point is well
here.
received. It is
Gotcha.
certainly not ideal. I would add, in terms of the difference between why Rodney has a better retention rate with his players than what we've seen along the offensive line, is that his prospects, his young guys, still have quite a bit of potential, and there's still quite a bit of hope of them panning out. I don't think Tennessee was sad to see.
Don't do it. Just let it go.
The offensive lineman leave.
Just let it go, man. Just let it go.
Well, let it go. I was making a separate point.
Oh man.
Tennessee wasn't fighting to keep Bennett Warren or Max Anderson or.
Why'd you bring him in here if you weren't gonna fight for him in 2 years?
Yeah,
because it was a misevaluation.
Be...
It was a misevaluation, which is what we've talked about ad nauseum for years now.
Oh God! Thanks a lot, Justin. Goodbye.
All right, you guys take care.
God.
It all goes back to it was a misevaluation out of high school and not developing them once they got here. They went to Minnesota and Kentucky, and I was stunned that William Satterwhite went to LSU.
I'm going back to the phones, man. I'm going back to the phones.
You think Tennessee fought to keep those offensive linemen here?
Good morning.
Good morning. Do we have people in our fan base that don't realize you do like line changes on defensive lines like every 2 or 3 plays, and you don't exactly do that on offensive line, and that's why there's a different amount of numbers. Like you don't start a drive with the same 3 down linemen and Leo that you still have on the field 4 plays later.
You're going to play more guys at defensive line than offensive line, no doubt, 100%.
Oh, really? There's a rotation on defensive line, and there's not. I had no idea. I guess the rest of our fan base didn't realize that either.
But Rusty, Justin's not wrong in his point talking about Rodney's ability to eval and develop, and it's better than the offensive line. Like that's 1,000% true. We can't debate that.
Oh yeah, but if we're talking about which line was better in 2025, that D line got whipped.
Nobody
this
wants
year.
to talk about that part, though. Defensive line got pushed around when it mattered most, just like the O-line did.
Whipped.
This is the conversation we probably don't need to go and go down a rabbit hole in, because I'm going to get myself in trouble.
I know.
So
I feel you.
the D-line would have been better if they actually was more physical in practice, but the offensive line was unable to be physical in practice. So the D-line definitely could have been.
Yang, I guess.
The D-line could have been better. I thought personnel from the personnel standpoint, I didn't think they were equipped like they were the year before with the girth that's needed inside the interior of the defensive line. They did make a change with who was coaching the edge. They took a little step back. You had injuries on the interior of the defensive line, but you didn't have enough bodies. And so is that a Rodney Garner issue, or is that a issue with the person who is responsible for bringing in players from the portal? So, like, we're living in a day and age where the coaches are not entirely 100% responsible for the players they bring in. You have guys who act as GMs. You have GMs who are their job is to bring in players. So, yeah, the D-line was not where it needed to be this year versus what it did in 23 and 24. But it's probably best that we don't go into details about why that played out. It's probably best we keep moving.
True. No, there was a billion things that caused the defense to be as bad as it was. It was, being 8 yards deep when it was 3rd and 6 in our drops. Safeties trying to blow up the running back instead of breaking down and making a tackle. Anyway. So Austin Price, the great, said, sounds like the plan now is FCS.
Correct.
There's plenty of good dudes. There's plenty of good dudes in FCS. There's been plenty of good dudes come from the FCS that were highly successful at the NFL level.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, who are some names in the FCS that is the Delaware kid going to be talked to? Montana State kid, North Dakota State kid, the kid over at Western Carolina, Coley ain't far. Do you have some names, man?
I do not have any names for you at this point. I know
the
they
names either when we asked him yesterday. Sorry to
interrupt. Yeah.
No one had any.
I haven't seen anybody with names. Yeah,
no one has any names right now.
They haven't decided who.
Hopefully the coach has names, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're deciding who the name is going to be. As of last night, they had not decided who was going to be the FCS quarterback that they were going to go after. I'm sure they're not sure. They're certainly tossing around names amongst each other in staff meetings, but in terms of getting a guy in here for a visit and proceeding forward with somebody, I don't believe that they've reached that stage. I do believe they looked at the Western Carolina quarterback, but just didn't seem like that was the direction that they were going to go, but something could certainly change.
Yeah. Swain, you mentioned the Ainge Schaefer year, but that was a year where, everybody thought in the early summer, I'm sure you guys on the roster probably knew things that the fans did, but I think everybody was thinking leak. And then, Rick's transferred from LSU and he's there. That was, there was 4 dudes on that roster. Do you ever see with the portal and dollars having to be doled out so many different ways, would there ever be 4 guys on the roster again that are on scholarship I
don't see it.
They're never have 4 again.
I don't see it. I mean, you can't pay 4
in case break. Yeah,
3. I think 3 is the number.
Is the max.
Yep.
Was Leak still healthy when Ainge took the injury to Notre Dame that year?
Yep.
So we did have a backup. We did have a scholarship backup when we went to Atlanta.
We had 4 quarterbacks that season. We had the 2 freshmen. And then Clausen and Leak. But, Leak was Clausen's backup because Ainge got hurt in the Notre Dame game. Schaefer got hurt in the South Carolina game. They were both done for the year. Yeah. And we carried the rest of the season with Rick and, played in the SEC championship game. And then he led us to a big victory against Texas A&M in a bowl game.
Yep, out in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're never going to go even just get two of the FCS and see which one works out better.
I mean, if a
That's
quarterback
why I'm
wants to be up in here for free as a fourth guy, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't.
300,
say no.
300K.
No,
300K.
no. Free.
Free.
No, because that
All right.
300K can go to somebody else. I mean,
Yes.
True.
free.
Give it to Deshaun Brain.
All right, Rusty. We got some people behind you. Good morning.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, man, you sound great, man. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Foxfall. How are you doing?
What's up, Foxball? Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Ben, first of all, glad to see you on here, buddy. Still praying for you and hope your medical journey is going well. Yeah, we're continuing to keep you in our prayers and glad to see you're doing well, man.
Oh, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Things have been going really, really well the last 2 months or so, and actually have a doctor's appointment this morning that I'm about to bolt for, and hopefully get some good news and share that good news with you and with you all next week, hopefully.
Awesome, man. I'm so glad to hear that. I know you guys are probably running short on time, and Swain, I know you got stuff to do too. Yeah, I was listening to all of this, and I keep looking at the different changes that are happening in the program, and I know, like, it's a different world now than it used to be. And I think, Swain, you've hit on it before, but Kurt Signetti, I think, has kind of changed the game a little bit for everybody. It's instantly putting more pressure on coaches, and you keep saying it, like Heupel, when he came in, he was inexperienced, so he's continuing to learn on the job now. And that the problem is, like, you're making almost $10 million a year, so there's not that time to continue to learn and learn and learn. But I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of these issues, it just seems systemic. Like, I kind of look at it like this. If you have a weed in a garden and you go and you just kind of cut off the top, what's going to happen? The weed's going to come back. You got to get to the root, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the root issue that's going on? And I think, first of all, you have been subtly at first, but then a little bit louder over the years. Strength and conditioning, guys. Strength and conditioning. We got a problem here. We finally saw it come to a head, but now I think you're seeing, like, you are starting to see some position groups. I think it was exposed a lot on the defense. I think that's why you kept certain people like Rodney Garner, and I'm not sure about William Inge yet. I don't really know much about him, but with Jim Knowles being a defensive guy, that's going to get handled. But it does really it all falls back to leadership. It all falls back to Josh Heupel, and I love Josh Heupel, man. Like, I was able to meet him. We went to the Orange, I can't remember what it was called, where he was signing autographs and everything, but my daughter got to meet him. What's that? Yeah. Yes. So I took my daughter to meet him, and I watched how he interacted with my daughter, and I was like, okay, yeah, this dude is legit. He's a genuinely good dude. It's not him personally, man. He's an amazing human being, I think. A lot better than Jeremy Pruitt was. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see all that stuff, but you got to think at some point he may have to make a tough decision, like a Glenn Ellerbe, and he may. You've said it. You've dropped hints before, but like I said, you're being a little bit louder. Like, even with the offense, he's going to have to look in the mirror and say, well, this thing may not be working anymore. You got a guy like Chaney on staff. Is he helping with the offensive line? I don't know. But will Glenn Ellerbe even let him step in and help. I don't know how that works either, but I don't know, guys. I'm going to hang up and listen. Love you guys. Thank y'all for everything you're doing. Sorry I haven't been around more, but
no worries, man.
Yeah, man. I'm
Good to hear you. Good to hear
I'm
you.
always listening.
Well,
I'm always listening. So
you have a great rest of your day, my man. I'm gonna get to the phones because we got one more phone call and then we'll take a break. But for me, it's just about being consistent and as honest as it can be about things that are like right out in the open, like the football game, things that happen during the football game, like it's out in the open. At the end of the day, I'm a fan just like everybody else, and won't put out news that will, hurt our program. But if folks is wondering what's going on, and they point blame in places that's wrong, I think it's unfair to the person who's being accused. I'll give you an example. And again, Josh Heupel's a head coach. So everything that happens, he's responsible for. That's why he's getting paid the big bucks. But I thought it was unfair that Josh Heupel was getting blamed for the play call late in the Georgia game. Oh, man, he's conservative, man. I thought that was wrong. I didn't think the play call was bad. I put it on the execution. But if you know the execution in those moments wasn't good enough, what are you going to do about it in the offseason to make sure that doesn't happen again? Are you going to bring in guys that's going to allow you to be able to call a run when the box suggests you should run the football? So that's why I look at the offensive line. I'm like, hey, man, it has to be better. Is it bad? It ain't bad, but it has to be better. It's year 6, about to go into year 6. And there's a lot of dudes making a lot of money that coaches certain positions, and I don't think it's too much to ask for better, because we all asked for better with the receivers, and what did we get? We got better. But Kelsey Pope did a hell of a job. A hell of a job with those receivers. Kelsey knew he had to get better. Kelsey answered the bell. He proved it to himself. And the receiver group was the strongest group on the team. Offensive line got to be better. Because if the offensive line's better, it helps the defensive line be better. You rarely see, man, the offensive line, man, they terrible, but the D-line is great. It's usually closer than that. They help each other. Iron sharpens iron. Those receivers this year were good. But guess what? Ty Redmond was getting better each and every week. He just wasn't getting better on Saturdays. He was getting better every day. Why? Because of the receivers he was going up against every day. Colton Hood every day was getting better. Why? Because of the receivers he was going up against. You see what I'm saying? 865-255-03 is our telephone number. Ben had to run. I told you about that doctor's appointment that he had to go to get a checkup. We want to make sure that we get some good news back. We'll take a break. We'll get to the phone, so hold that line, please. Coming straight to you after we take a brief time out. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Stay with us. Guys, you can feel your energy slipping away, losing what makes you, you. It could be low testosterone. Take action now. Low T Center can help reclaim your energy with a quick and simple free T-test. Visit Low T Center and receive pharmaceutical-grade testosterone never compounded like other clinics. Experienced providers increase your testosterone to the level that is just right for you. Treatment is covered by most major insurance with affordable self-pay options available. The best you is waiting. Book your free T-test at trtmvp.com. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Jennifer Morse here with Keller Williams Realty. Fall sports can be a roller coaster ride for us fans. The excitement, drama, and passion will make us crazy sometimes. I can't manage the games, but I can help you manage your real estate needs while you're cheering on the Vols. Reach out at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Let's go back to the phones, 865-255-03, the Garza Law hotline. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Swain. Mike from Conyers here.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Yeah. Maybe Ben's lit. I didn't, I was hoping I'd be able to say hi to Ben, but before he left, maybe he's listening. If so, I'm just glad to hear his, everything's moving in the right direction. That's really good to hear.
Great news. Yeah, he looks good too, man. Looks good, sounding
good.
Oh, good.
In
good spirits. So
yeah, he sounds good from just what I can hear. So I just wanted to make a comment about O-line, D-line thing. We're just going back to kind of what you like to say. Let's look at facts. You look at year 5. Where did Tennessee's offense rank in the SEC? Well, I believe they were number 1, weren't they? Defense was not exactly number 1. So, before we throw Glenn Ellerby or anybody else under the bus, we got to at least be fair and, give some credit where credit's due. I'm not saying I'm totally sold or that there's not deficiencies or any of that, but good grief, we did have a heck of an offense last year.
I give him credit, Mike. I give him credit.
Yeah.
I said.
I know you are. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not referring to you.
The running game for the last couple of years has been good. You've had 3 different running backs be all SEC with multiple running back coaches. So that means, from a system standpoint, the running game is doing a good job. At the same time, because two things can be true. The offensive line development is not where it needs to be. It needs to be better. The development and the eval needs to be better. So both things are 100% true. And
yes.
Like the ranking, that sounds good, but like when it matters most, because you got to think about it, Mike, our schedule has been favorable the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. We've had really favorable SEC opponents the last 2 years, and that changes next year. So like the stats look great. That's cool. But when you're playing Georgia, when you're playing Alabama, when you're playing Oklahoma, and you're playing in those 3 or 4 games that define your season, what you do versus inferior opponents, for me, in year 5 or 6, it doesn't matter. It's about what you can do in those moments and having that small degree of separation to reach your goals and do what you want to do. So the stats, hey man, when you're ranked in terms of offenses, again, it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but you can't go into this offseason and just be okay with, hey, we were pretty good, ranking. You got to look at it.
Not at all. That's certainly not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just
trying to say, we did have, in year 5, our offense performed a lot better than our defense. That's all.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. So, but I totally agree with everything you're saying as well. Like you say, more than one thing can be true at the same time. Sure. I was also just going to make a quick comment on something that was said about Kirk Signetti. I watching that last game, Indiana, Oregon. Whether it was McElroy, who was running color on it. Anyway, the comment was that Signetti obviously goes to the portal, but he's more interested in what a player did the previous year as opposed to what their potential was coming out of high school. So he doesn't focus on star ratings or any other ratings. He looks, and even whatever level they were at, what did they produce last year? And I thought that was just kind of an entry. Obviously, everything's changed, and the SEC with their high blue chip ratios, that all of a sudden just kind of goes out the window. You're paying a lot of money for players that are going to sit on the bench, and you're going to develop them, and then they're going to leave. I mean, obviously everyone knows now that you got to go to the portal and you got to do what you got to do. So, but I just thought that was an interesting comment about Signetti and his approach to the portal. So anyway, I'm going to hang up and listen. Love the show.
Hey, thank you, man. Thanks for the phone call. Yeah. At the end of the day, man, if your defense was better, you win more games. And because your defense wasn't better, it put a lot of pressure on your offense to be better, and there were times when they were unable to be better. And so there's a formula that you have to win as much as you can. And the formula now is not the same formula in 2021, where having a successful, exciting offense while losing was okay because it was better than Pruitt and you were selling tickets. That's not their approach right now. Not saying that's what Mike was saying, but as you enter year 6, you have to be more complimentary. So Ole Miss was third in offense in SEC in points per game. We were first. Georgia was 6th in points per game. We were first. Ole Miss was in the playoffs. One game away from national championship. Georgia's in the playoffs. Alabama scored 29.5 points per game. They were 10th. I'm counting correctly. 10th in the playoffs. So the stats only say so much. They only say so much. You can't have a lopsided unit. You have to have balance. You got to have balance. Oklahoma, yards per game, offensively, 354. 354. Tennessee, 466 per game. Who was at home? Who was in the playoffs? Alabama, 367 per game. Right above Oklahoma, which is the bottom third of the league, the yards per game. Who was at home? Who was in the playoffs? So that's my point. This is not 2021 where losing but being entertained is acceptable. You have to win more games. What you're asking the fans to do is spend more, engage more. You got to give them more. You have to. And I think our administration understands that. And Kirk Cinetti has made it tough on everybody because his brother has come up in here from James Madison and is doing what he's doing in year 2. No one has gotten coaches fired more than Nick Saban in this league because everyone's trying to chase Nick Saban. But Cinetti is about to get some people fired around the country because they're like, Yo, Indiana? Year one, he goes to the playoffs. Year two, he's playing for a national championship. So Cincinnati has put pressure on everybody. Everybody. Because the big boy boosters who are at these football programs, like the Texas, like the Oklahomas, the Tennessees, Ohio States, the USCs, all the powerhouse football programs are like, wait a minute, Indiana's doing this? If they can do this, we should be able to do this. So it puts more pressure on the coaches. It is what it is. It is what it is. Kudos to the offensive line, man. I mean, not offensive line, but to the basketball team for their victory against Texas A&M. A different style of play that we're not used to playing up against. For them to figure it out, find a way. Didn't play great at the beginning. A little surprised by a sense of urgency. Didn't really have it coming off. Embarrassing loss to Florida, but you still found a way. Nate Ament came into his own. It was fun to watch him. That boy grew up on us, man. That boy grew up on us, and I can't wait to see him carry that over this Saturday versus Kentucky. Kentucky was down, man, almost 20 points last night to LSU in the first half, but they come back, they get the buzzer beater to win the game. Kentucky made a lot of threes in the second half. I watched that game, and Tennessee, you can't lose Kentucky. This Kentucky team, you cannot lose to this Kentucky team. You cannot do it. So, got to take care of the basketball. Too many turnovers against Texas A&M at 19. Bigs got to be big. Got to be force in the paint. Kentucky's bigs, not that great. Oway's going to drive. His shot's inconsistent, but he was on fire last night. He was on fire last night, man. So, tight end position, keep an eye out for that position. We certainly need to bring in some players there. Offensive line, interior, continue to address that area. Corner and running back. Those are kind of the four positions I'm looking at outside of the quarterback position. So, listen, I'm not freaking out about Tennessee going out and getting an FCS quarterback because I've seen with Josh Heupel what he's done with transfer quarterback with experience. He hasn't missed. Hasn't missed. Done a great job in that area. But there's just other areas we have to address. And after the national championship game, because I do believe Tennessee is looking at that Indiana strength coach who has some ties to Heupel. I believe we either going to get him or make him the highest paid strength coach, or even more than he is right now. I think you're going to go get a no from him. And then you go from there. But the strength coach is very, very, very important. And I think we'll see some traction on that here in the next 7 days or so. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America, but it ain't the only one that has a barbecue bar. So we'll do this again on Tuesday, 8 a.m. We'll have a Kentucky game to talk about and react to. We'll have portal stuff to talk about and react to because that thing changes every single hour, it seems like. And we appreciate you doing it with us here on the Swain Event. Again, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. I'm live here in the Low T Center studio. For Ben McKee, I'm Jason Swain. Peace. Much love. We are out.